Okay, it's Tuesday morning. We're back over here to water most of the mounts except the resting ones. The resting ones don't get done today, they got done last time. They had their trickle just to keep them from shrivelling up. So we'll have a look in here and see what's what. I doubt if much has changed, quite honestly. But we can have a look. Oh, it's just coming on to rain. It wasn't doing that when I walked in the door. So, yeah, the wildcat bobcat's still looking good. Couple of blasted buds at the very top of the spike. Apart from that, all buds were successful, including the branched ones. So that was not bad. Something happened here, something untoward, because these two here should have either been buds or branches. Yeah, and given that this one here was a bud, they should have had buds on and they didn't, so there's like a gap. Oh, we've got a twinkle open. Just the one. That's not the one I was expecting to be first. Now that, I believe, as I said, I will get tags on these now. As soon as they open, all the twinkles have buds on, so when they open I'll know which one's which. The one that never changes is Twinkle. I always know that one. So that one is Red Fantasy. So that's Twinkle Red Fantasy, that one. And I do remember that when the plant was all split up, that's what it looked like when I mounted it, so I was reasonably certain of that one anyway. And then somewhere amongst these, I think there's two yellow ones and the cinnamon one. Or a yellow one and the cinnamon one, yes, and then the named cross, the Marguerite something or other, that's actually a cross between a Twinkle back with Soto Ann and back with one of the parents. So one of these is that one. That's the Twinkle up there. I must admit I was expecting those to be open. And this one, we don't know. It came from Jeff's. But I don't believe that's a Twinkle. That's going to be something entirely different. As yet, unidentified. We'll wait for some blooms. The zygo spike's pushed on a bit, so that's quite nice. That's actually the named one. That's the Louisendorf. So that's a predictable bloom on there. Might only have one, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But looks like the last few buds are pushing out of the Cattleya cernua. I don't think there's any more new growths that haven't opened yet. That one's open. That one's starting to fade. Yeah, I think all the new growths have now opened their leaves, so their buds are showing. So we've just got those to open up. That's the last one to go. I wonder how the spike on this little Phalaenopsis is doing. Oh, it's pushing on. So I have some blooms on there. Blooms on that are very attractive. That's the only reason I've kept it, is the blooms are very attractive. What's Laelia anceps doing through the undergrowth? Yeah, you can see Laelia anceps is an odd one because it forms a sheath basically, and inside the sheath the buds form. Now it's not unusual for a Cattleya, but it's an unusual shaped sheath. So yeah, the buds are showing. I think we're only going to get 2, maybe 3. But that one had, along with all the Cattleyas in the clay pots, they all had a setback. And my concept for the Holy Clay Pots Cattleya types is they've got one season. That's their lot. So in the next growing season, they either pull on and get some roots going. I'd be happy if new growths aren't full size or anything like that, but I want root systems. I want the root systems back. If they're still struggling at the end of this coming growing season, then they'll just have to go. They're flipping scale magnets at the end of the day. They are the source of the scale in most of the flipping grow room, and they are the perpetuators, if you know what I mean. The scale that have been on other plants, I mean, all of these Twinkles and Oncidiums have had scale, but I've shifted it. They're clear now, or as far as I know. I haven't done an intense study. Oh, that's looking good. The colour's showing on that one. So that'll be open next time we come, I suspect. 2 spikes on there. That's just a generic, now it was sold as a Cambria basically, but it's lots of shades of purple. So that looks quite good. Oh, the Thailand Black has opened a bloom, so we'll get that out and have a look, because it's facing the wrong way. Yeah, that's just opened. Lovely velvety appearance to that. Absolutely gorgeous. Let's do my close focus thing. Oh, let's all let the dogs out and all bark together. Wonderful blooms. Gorgeous stuff. Yeah, so that's that one. The Oncidium type at the back there, that's it's Oncidium Cheyenne, but that's a trade name. I doubt if it's anything. That's opened a few more blooms. Hopefully by the next time we'll be starting on this spike to open too. So if I was here all the time, I'd bring that one to the front, but it's doing fine there, and by leaving it quite close to the glass, it means that all the blooms should open facing the same way. I mean, I started thinking, chatting with Hannah over Christmas, what's going to happen now as we head into January, with meetings and things and government regulations, what's going to change, because I've got 2 Orchid Society meetings at the end of January. One's the 22nd, that'll be a Saturday, and then one on the following Friday. And at this point in time, I don't know whether we're going to be able to do those meetings or not, or whether we're going to have to suddenly switch back to Zoom or something. I don't know. We shall have to wait and see, but it's an unknown situation at the moment. But we've got some nice Restrepias open here. This is one of my largest Restrepias. You see, like, the actual, from the top of that antennae to the bottom is actually quite a size. It's one of my larger ones. I don't know whether it'll focus in this low light, but there we go. It's an attractive one. And the one with the purple blooms that we looked at last time, that's got even more blooms on it now. In that light, I doubt if it'll focus, but worth a try. There's a couple of Restrepias with blooms at the moment. Oh. Now, I've had a theory with the money situation. Obviously, my outgoings exceed my income. The idea is to dip into the money from this house as I go along, but my idea is to try and keep that difference as low as possible. Otherwise the money might run out before I do. A horrible thought, but comes to us all. I've got a plan. But what I did propose, I was talking to Hannah about income and the situation with lack of availability of orchids in the UK. Suddenly they have more value because of the scarcity, the inability to just easily get plants across from Europe. All the German nurseries and from the Netherlands and things like that. It's all gone wrong, really. And from my point of view, a Restrepia that big or a Restrepia that big is 5 plants. One for me to grow on again, because they seem to grow well for me, and 3 or 4 to sell. A big Masdevallia like that. That's 3 plants, maybe even 4. So I need to start thinking about splitting stuff down. I mean, I've done my first split with the with one of the pinguiculas. Now, they're not so easy to come by, so the idea is that split them up. I only need 1 of each type, and they'll sell. So when Miltonias get to this sort of size, there's 3 or 4 plants there, and they grow at a fair rate, so they soon come back to a decent size. And the only reason I want the large specimen plants really is for the shows, and the show tables at the meetings. And when I think about it, that's actually not important to me. That's not why I grow orchids. I like to grow them and see them grow and see them thrive. That's what I like out of it, and then obviously eventually bloom. Some are more stubborn than others, but we do what we can. So, yeah, I think, I don't know the mechanism of selling. Obviously, I've got the YouTube channel, but Hannah said, doesn't that upset a lot of people? And I said, what do you mean? She said, well, probably 95% of your audience can't buy your plants because they're not in the UK. Oh, yeah, I hadn't thought of that. So I might use Mix Masdavalia's shop. You know, he has opened that up for other people to put plants on there. Obviously have a word with him first and see if it's all right. And then actually use Mix Masdavalia's shop, which specifically says, you know, this is a UK orchid, you know, orchid selling shop. So, you know, that. And, you know, I can do a nice plug for Mix Masdavalia channel while I'm at it, you know, because if I'm... it's not a lot of point in just putting my plants in his shop and then not mentioning it. So, yeah, so I might do that as a sort of joint venture. But, yeah, I mean, I've got another Pinguicula here. That's going to split into 3 nice plants. This is going to go into 2 nice plants, although this one is a stubborn one. It very rarely flowers. But that could be because it's just in rubbish media and it's not thriving. You know, that was the problem when I split this one. You know, the roots had virtually gone. You know, I'm hoping to regenerate nice root systems in some nice fresh media. But the media was just like mud. It was horrible. So they're in better media now. So, yeah, I think, you know, the plants to go sessions that I've done before, you know, where I film each plant and then people sort of bid on them and, you know, and then the highest bidder gets them and all that sort of thing. It's all very well, but it's a lot of YouTube time and a lot of YouTube people putting up with stuff that really is nothing to do with them because they can't join in. Because, you know, we can only sell in the UK now. So, yeah, the Vanda's still looking good. That's lasting incredibly well. It certainly is a beauty, that one. Absolute beauty. And huge, huge blooms. Oh, looks like Bella's gone over. Well, it lasted reasonably well. So, you know, it's done well. I don't see any other spikes coming on that at the moment, but we'll chuck some water on that today. Okay, so nothing much new going on, really. It's, to say, at the temperature I've got it set now, things are just going to be just about be ticking over or stopped, which is the idea because it reduces the maintenance down to next to nothing. So, I mean, I will probably only come over here a couple of times between now and when Hannah's down. And the idea now is that on the Friday before the weekend Hannah comes down, I'm going to come over and start packing orchids and see how much I can get done on my own. Because basically it's a matter of putting a box or a crate here, piling pots into it and carrying it into the lounge on the floor. So it's not a lot of walking, not a lot of lifting and no stairs. And if I can get an awful lot packed prior to Hannah coming down, it would be nice if when she got down here I mean, we'll be down here about lunchtime on the Saturday. It would be nice if we could start on the kit straight away. You know, and trying, if we could get all the kit over on Saturday, and then first thing Sunday morning, I'll be up silly early as usual. I can start setting it up and getting things where they've got to go, and then perhaps later in the day we can come and get a load of the orchids, because the orchids will take a lot of trips because they can't be stacked. Obviously they've just got to go flat on the floor, so there's only so many crates or boxes I can get in the estate. So it's going to take quite a few trips, I suspect. But yeah, we'll see what we can get done. But I can make a big speed up in the processing if I can get most of the orchids packed before Hannah gets here on the Saturday. Because then we haven't got to start with that job, because I've already done it, or done a lot of it. So that's the plan. And I will try and film as best as I can, but it's probably not going to be much more than sticking the camera on the tripod, because I know people, this is the bit people want to see, and then just leave the camera running. So I won't be specifically filming, because if I hold the camera in my hand, I'm not working, am I? We need to work. But I could stick the camera on the tripod and then edit the huge amount of video footage that I'll have later, or possibly take large sections and speed them up. You know, we can do the Benny Hill thing. I'm not playing the music, it's copyright. As much as I'd love to. Yeah, so that's the sort of plan for that weekend. And that weekend's the 8th and 9th of January, so it's quite a way off yet. What is that? Fortnight's time? Something like that? A few days left in December. But, yeah, so the power troubles at the other house are over now. That the problem has been genuinely solved on the grounds we've had some really heavy rain since then, and the power hasn't gone off. So that was the problem, and by disconnecting the cable, the problem's gone away. It would only come back if the cable's reconnected, and while I'm there, it's not going to be. I don't need power in the shed, so that's just a no-no. Anyway, yeah, video for today. We've got this one over here. This that's showing purple tips on the buds, which do have a good green tinge. The label said KO green, but there's no such thing, not even close. So, we'll see what the blooms are like. We might get an identity once the blooms are there. That bud's pushing on there, and this one, so we'll have some blooms on there too. One of the black hair types. Some of the Nobelies have got nubbins showing, but they'll be a fair way off before they actually bloom. And we'll see how we go. I'm getting quite a pile of dead leaves here. And we'll see how we go. As I said, I'm only watering mounts today. Strictly speaking, I need to do the Vandas in the bucket, but there's no hot water here, and I haven't got a kettle, so they might just have to wait. They might just have to stay dry. I've got a sprayer here. I could give the roots a spray, and the Rhinantheras, just give them a spray to keep them going. But I'm not putting them in freezing cold water, and I'm not going to be here long enough to, I think next time I come I could bring the kettle, and then I can get some warm water into there and heat it up and give them a good soak. But for today they'll manage with a spray. Temperatures are so low in here at the moment that the Vandas aren't growing, nor are the Rhinantheras. It's too cold. They'll have slowed down to a stop, and we're on our shortest days alongside very low temperatures for that plant. They are warm growers. They're not supposed to drop down below 18 or 19 really. Not 14. So they've come to a stop anyway. I've got a feeling I can see buds on another black hair type up the one against the glass there. Looks like there might be some buds. Jolly good. And there's new growths coming out, Miltonias and Oncidiums and Brassias. Brassias have all got new growth pushing on. So there's lots of growing going on, certainly on the Oncidium stuff. They're either coming into bloom or they're pushing on their new growths at the moment, so they're doing okay. But yeah, that'll do. And as I say, I'll crack on and see where we get to. But as I say, I'm not filming watering or anything like that. I just had a quick look round to see what's new. The only new bloom, in fact, is the Thailand Black, the Phalaenopsis type, and the one little twinkle, the little one all on its own. Did I actually do a close-up on that? I didn't, did I? Let's see if I can get it to focus, because it's in pretty good light. We all love our twinkles. Typical Oncidium shape. I mean, there's nothing unusual about them, and they're very small. But in the main, twinkles make up for the size by the sheer weight of numbers of the buds. These are poor quality spikes because the plants are recovering. They're not in a good way. I mean, Tiny Twinkle, it's how you read signs. Tiny Twinkle is pushing out spikes and they're okay. But here and there, buds are blasting, which means it's not as happy as it could be. And I just think it's been on that mount too long. The moss has gone and the roots are not developing as well as they once were. So on all these new growths, they haven't got the backup of a decent root system this time round. So yeah, it needs dealing. It either needs to come off the mount completely and start again. Again, that would split up into 3 or 4 plants and push it on again. Grows well on a mount, until that rain's getting heavy. I'm glad I'm not out in that. Right, well, I must crack on. I've come here for a job, not to sort of lounge around. That really is a gorgeous bloom. I mean, that's Odontoglossum type bloom, but it's an intergeneric of some sort. chances are it is what has been found out, Wilsonara tiger tail, I think it was. But whatever it's called, it's a beautiful bloom. The other spike's pushing on a bit now too. So, yeah, I mean that was an Oncidium type with a very poor root system that's coming back. You know, roots are growing now. It's doing okay. So we shall see. And I'll leave it at that for today, and I'll get this processed when I get home later in the day, and yeah, we'll go from there. But the videos are going to be thin now because I don't come over here very often, and there's not much going on at the other place now. Everybody's gone home, sort of back on my own with the two cats, and I've got unpacking to do. There's lots of stuff still in boxes. You know, I'm reasonably happy with the furniture where it is now. I've got a job to do with the sound system, but I'll actually do that as a video. Some people are interested in that sort of tech stuff, but most people aren't, so I won't include it here. But yeah, I've got a bit of an experiment to do, which should enable me to completely remove one of the sound systems and just use one, which gets rid of all the wires and all the stuff under the table. But as I said, I'll work on that separately. And I'll see you next time. Thanks for dropping by.